Hey everyone. Had a few questions lately about game rounds, and I know there's a lot to it, so I wanted to go over some general information about it to kind of help you out. I know that there's a lot of new PvE stuff going on with the new AI and people wanting to get their rounds set up properly. So I've got my map set up a little bit here for what I wanted to show you. Um, I do have on the one side we've got, let's see if it'll show us. We've got Team Eagle spawning on 2, which is Team Cobra over on the other side. Now, let me see. I actually don't think I set the team on these respawns. So let's get that set up real quick. I'll show you why in a little bit here. But basically with the rounds and scripting, there's quite a lot of options for just kind of controlling the game outside of what the game naturally does. I did want to talk a little bit about the nodes. I wanted to talk a little bit about um, manipulating different things to happen on different rounds. Um, so we'll kind of get into that. So I've got my script brain here. It's blank right now, but let's take a look at the nodes that we can use. So it's going to be in your events section, and we've got on round start, on round end. Okay, kind of go together. Now it's important to understand there's kind of a uh, almost like a timeline of things that happen right at the beginning of a match, right? So you have on game start is the very first thing that happens, and then you have like players will spawn in. So on player spawn initially at the beginning of the game, you're going to have all the players spawn after the game starts. So game start is like second zero in the whole match, right? But then there's, it does its loading and things. It gets everyone ready. At that point, you're going to have the round will start somewhere along that line. The round starts, but you depending on your game mode, you could have a round stop and another round start, and however many rounds, and then gameplay start um, is actually after the round start, but it's like as soon as you actually gain control of your character. So um, just some information to be aware of. So let's do an on round start node. This is our event. We're going to zoom in a little bit here. And so if we want something to trigger as soon as the round starts, we can plug it in here and then we get round number. Now this is something that I've seen some confusion around. This round number is automatically going to output whatever number round you're on. So if you just started the game and you're on round 1, it's going to output a 1. If you're on round 2, it's going to output a 2, and so on. So if you want something to happen round 1 and never happen again, you can you can add some nodes to make that happen. Let's just take a quick look at what that looks like. So we're going to get a compare out of our logic compare category. This is going to let us compare numbers. So if we put this in and we edit our properties here, if we want operand to be round 1, okay. Now this could be round 3, round 4. Like let's say you wanted something to happen only on round 5. You just put in whichever one you want. And then when we'll grab our branch out of the logic section, and we'll do if it equals. So now if we want something to happen on only round 1, it's going to check when the round starts. If the round number equals 1, we can run that script off of the true right here. Okay. Um, We could also, if we wanted something different to happen on every round that's not round one, we could literally just run it off this false one because it's checking to see if it's round one. If it's not, then do something else. Another thing you could do, let's say you wanted to do something different every single round. Now this is, um, it's not super complicated. It just takes adding a few extra nodes. But so let's see, we could have it check if this is round two. And actually, if you get creative here, you can use one compare node to get multiple things. um, but we'll do it this way for simplicity here. Oh, I meant to plug it in right there. So we could say if it's round one, do something if it's true. If it's false, we could then check if it's round two. And if it's round two, do something. If not, then do something. Now, let's say we only have 3 rounds. This would have us covered, right? Um, if it's round one, do something. If not, check if it's round two. If it's round two, do something. Well, if you get false on one and false on two, then it has to be round three. You could just run it off of your false path down here. Um, so that's a quick way that you could use the round numbers to get started. Let's say maybe it doesn't matter what round it is. You just want something to happen when the round starts. But let's say you want that to be reset when the round ends. So I'm not going to get super in depth into this, but just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like, let's say um, when the round starts, you could say select a random player, right? So let's see, we want players. Let's go down to players, get all players. Okay. And now resetting stuff, this is more likely to be used if you are basically setting a variable, because those variables, whatever they're set to, will carry to the next round if you don't reset them, right? So we could say variables advanced, declare object variable. We'll just call this, I'm just going to call it the number one because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. We'll just do local scope. And let's say, let's grab our math. We'll do, oh, actually, I'm trying to remember, was there a, I thought there was a get a random object from the list, but maybe I'm wrong. They changed so many of these lately that I'm trying to remember what's what. But we can just do a random, right? So if you want to do random here, we need to actually do the get list size, which I think it's this one now. They changed the name on that. So what we're doing here is we're getting the list size and we're adding that as the max number so our random doesn't go above that. And the cool thing about random is it actually, if you're using whole numbers, it sticks to whole numbers, so you don't have to even like round it up or down. But we'll just say the minimum is one because we're not going to play the game with less than one person, right? So get a random number from between 1 and the max of the list of all players. And then we can add a node for get object at index. I think that's this one now, if I remember right. So we actually can't remember if we can get away without declaring something. We'll try it. If it gives us an error, then we'll start over. But let's grab a set object. Okay. So our scope's going to be local. The value, oh wait, we need our identifier. That's going to be our number 1. And the value is going to be oh, I think generic item's not the right thing. My bad. Let's figure out in our lists section. I think I think I'm supposed to be in the object section. That's why I'm confusing myself. Get object at index. All right. Here we go. This should work. And actually, we might need the get list size. Yeah. I think the generic objects one is meant for like generic zones and things like that. All right. So got our object list, object count, randomized index. The index is basically just the number for the list. So if you have 10 objects, object 1 will be a number, 2 will be a number 2, and so on. Okay, so we've got everything set up, and there's a couple other things we're going to want to do. First one is a debug. We're going to print a player to the kill feed. And we're going to set this up with so much setup just to show you this, but we're gonna do on game start, so it happens before the round starts. We're gonna add a bot to the match. So if we go to bots, add a bot, bot difficulty, we'll just do a Marine. Team, I think I'm on Eagle, so we'll set it up as Cobra. And so now we should have 2 people in the list. It'll either be me or the bot. And then we'll just set it up to do when I mark. Okay. Oh. So the player I want to send to the kill feed, we need to do a get on our object variable. So down here in variables advanced, get object variable. Identifier is going to be the number 1. Scope will be local. All right, so what this is basically doing is when we start the round, it's going to set randomly either me or the bot into this variable. And then when I mark, I'm going to print player to the kill feed, right? Let's just see what that looks like. Make sure we don't have any errors. Okay, so if I mark, it's me, right? It's going to stay me because we're not doing anything else to set it. And actually, what could be happening? So every round, it technically would set a different player. So let's do something real quick, just so we can test this further. There's a lot that goes into testing between rounds, but I want a player event here. We'll just say on player crouch, and we're gonna tell it to end the round. So that's gonna be in game mode, end the round. And we don't want it to end the game. False, okay. Okay, so technically this is going to set it again every round start. So we don't even need to unset it at the round end. But we could, I guess it just depends on what you're carrying over to the new round. Sometimes you have like a number variable or something. And technically we could do add a bot to the game. Like if we did this, where when the game starts, add a bot to the game and then set a random player. That player is going to stay the same every single round, but we could do on round end and have it basically do the same set function and get something different every time. But anyway, let's just run this real quick. I don't know if it's adding our bot. It might be too quick at game start. Might have to put a little delay there. So sometimes if you try and do something the second the game starts, the game doesn't like it. So if we go to logic, we're going to just tell it to wait 0.3 seconds. And then we'll, oh, I didn't mean to close that. We're going to also add a wait on this so that hopefully that bot will get in before it does our randomizer, or we'll just have it wait a second and a half, see if that does it. We're getting kind of messy up in here, but it's okay. Oh, I don't think I connected the bot back up. There we go. There we go. We got Cosmo this time. So now if I mark, we got Cosmo randomly. If I crouch, we'll end the round. Now if I mark, got Cosmo again. I'm going to end the round. Let's see if we should get me because it should be randomizing. Hey, there's me that time. So it is random. All right. So one of the things I know, I pulled this end round out of the gameplay section, so I wanted to kind of look at that for a second. Under game mode, there's a bunch of round end options. So these are all pretty much the same, besides you get to choose certain things, right? So this one was end game. You could tell it true or false. You've got end the round all tied, right? So that's basically just if you use this node versus this one. This one ends the round, there's not necessarily any determined winner. This one tells you that everyone tied. You can set the winning player with this one and so on. So it's super convenient if you're trying to, uh, you know, force the end of a round when certain condition happens. Um, let's say you wanted to add points to a certain player, right? So let's do this. Well, points isn't going to be convenient with our setup here, but let's do a trait. I know we're going down a rabbit hole with all these things just to kind of demo this, but um, we'll just give the overshield visual effects. So I think we got to go up here, apply trait set, declare trait set. We got to declare it. Let's just do an identifier of the number 2. So this is the trait set. We're going to add a trait to it. We're going to tell it to, oh, I did false. We want true. So this is going to give the player that's stored the overshield effect. And we've just got to grab the apply trait set. Where'd it go? Down here. And we'll tell it to use number 2 because that's what our trait set is. Apply immediately true. And let's see if it'll let me get this. Yeah, there we go. Forge doesn't always like to give you um, like cross connect between different functions and things, but this time it let us, so I'm happy about that. All right, so let's just kind of back up for a second and talk about what's happening before we run this. So when the game starts, it's going to add a bot, and then when the round starts, it's going to wait a couple seconds, and then it's going to set our object variable that we're storing. So it's going to set one of the 2 players. This is the stuff that essentially randomizes that for us. Let's get it up out of here. Okay. Then we can end the round by crouching. We can mark and print who it is to the kill feed. But now we've set up where when the round ends, it's going to give the visual effects to whoever's being stored. Okay. So now keep in mind we're not taking it away at all, so we should got Dark Star in here. I'm just going to end the round. One of us should get the visual effect, and it was me that time. So I started the new round with the visual effect. So that's kind of what you would use that on round end for, is just kind of setting up the next round, right? All right, we've spent a lot of time on this, so now let's what in the world is happening? Oh, I'm stuck inside a ghost. Okay. So let's talk now. Something someone had asked me about recently is how do you get it to do something different every other round, right? So some of the game modes you set up, you want to have the team swap sides or swap like I guess roles, like maybe it's traits, things like that, swapping every other round. How do you set that up? Well, let's talk about that real quick. So we're gonna get rid of some of these things just to clean this up. So um, we'll keep our player crouch end round. And we'll add our bot. I should have kept my trait set. Let's do some setup here for just a second. Bear with me. We're gonna set up two trait sets. Okay, so we're gonna have trait set um, E for it's gonna be E for eagle, and then we're gonna have trait set C for cobra. Okay. And actually, that's not going to work because we want it to switch. Like, you don't actually switch teams between rounds, so um, we'll just do trait set 1 and 2, and we'll try and get it to correspond with our two different sides. So trait set 1, trait set 2. Why isn't it not confirming? There we go. Okay. So we declared them. Trait set 1 is going to get camouflage. And everything in scripting has settings, so you pretty much have to change the settings on anything you want to do. But we'll get this. So I don't remember what this setting means, so we're just going to do 50 on both. VFX, set it to true. There you go. All right, so how do we tell which round it is? Well, I came up with this. I'm sure other people have thought of it as well, but we know that we get a round number every time. So we can basically do some math to determine if the round number is even or odd. And if you just want it to switch back and forth, then it's not too bad. So if we go to math, let's do an add. So if it's round 1, um, it it's I found it's easier to just add 1 to whatever the round is so that you can divide and have remainders. So I'm going to add the number 1. So if it's round 1, our result's going to be 2, and so on. And then we're going to do a divide. So we're going to divide by the number 2. All right, so we've got that. And then what we want to do is figure out what the remainder is and compare that to 1. Oh, I need to go into compare logic. So there we go. Okay. So what this means, if it's round 1, we're going to add 1, divide by 2, you'll have a remainder of 0. So the remainder is not 1. If it's not 1, it's an odd round. And then if you have, like, let's say the number 2, you add 1, which is 3, divide it by 2, which would be 1 with a remainder of 1. 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 1 with a and it would equal 1, which would mean it's an even round. And it'll be odd and even every single time. So we would need a branch to actually do the check. So let's add that branch. Logic. So again, if it equals 1, it's even. So true would be even, false is odd. And I'm going to get this out of our way down here. So we've got our declares set up for traits. So let's do this. We've got to go down to traits and get our apply trait set. So I want to show you, I know I'm adding more complication to this, but I want to show you kind of how this would actually work in practice, because I know sometimes you need a little head start if you're pretty new to all this. So I'm going to go to the players section real quick, and we are going to get all players on team. So our teams only are going to have 1, but I want to show you like how you would really use this in practice. So we've now got a list of all the players on each of Eagle and Cobra, right? So if we want it to be opposites every other round, like one round you start with the active camo, the other round you start with the overshield, and these are just the visual effects, but it doesn't really matter. What we could do is we'll have our 2 different uh, branches here. Okay. So if it's true, which again, that's going to be even number, right? Then, well, let's do it like this. So we would give Cobra players, it's taken a lot of space to do this. We'd give Cobra players 1 and the other team the other. So let's go back to our traits, apply trait set, okay. And since we're looping through every player on the team, we just have to do this one time. Execute per player, trait set, let's just say number 1. I don't think it really matters right now. And then we're going to need another one over here. And this is going to be trait set 2. Oh, I forgot to, we'll change it to apply immediately. So we want it to go through the Cobra team and give them trait set 1, and they get it immediately. And then it'll go through Eagle team and give them trait set 2. Okay, so we're doing this whole loop, and then when it's done, we'll do the next loop. Now, what this is going to do is only on an even round will it happen this way. But we're going to start out with an odd round, right? So we actually need something coming off the false path to handle it for when it's an odd round, which technically we can just do the exact same thing, right? So let's copy and paste. I was trying to keep it from getting all wonky like that, but it mostly didn't. So let's just swap. So this will be Eagle, and this will be Cobra. So now we've got it where if it's an even round, Cobra gets trait set 1 and Eagle gets trait set 2. If it's an odd round, it's vice versa. So I think we're all set to test this. See if it gives us. Oh, missed something on our trait sets. I had a feeling we missed something. Trait set node. We declared our trait sets. Oh, we didn't add the players. No wonder. All right, so we just want to connect the current player. There we go. The other thing, if we wanted to be really accurate about this, we probably would remove all trait sets from everybody before we did this, but I know this video is getting long and I don't want to spend way too much time. There's our semi-invisible, or am I the invisible one? No, I've got the active camo. Okay, well, so now we should, as we start the new round, get the opposite. So yeah, there's my active camo. He got that. Cool, works. All right, so the last thing I want to cover, and hopefully you all, if you're still here, still following, or getting something out of this, is the question of how do you make the teams switch sides on each other on every other round. And the answer is that there's not really a convenient way. I think the attrition game type does that automatically, but it doesn't always really work for everything. So what I've found is an option is to essentially set up spawn points for each team and have it basically activate on the correct round, right? So what I did is I set these as label Zulu, and these are Team Cobra, okay? And over here we have, I think these were Yankee. Oh, I've got these set as Team Cobra too. Hold on a sec. Let's see. Let's see what we need to fix on this. So we've got this set for Team Eagle. So these. Oh wait, actually, we actually want to leave these Team Cobra for now. They spawned in behind, but you could basically just stick them like over the top of each other, right? So these are Team Cobra on the Yankee, and we want Zulu Eagle on these ones. All right, so we've got basically we're going to have a bunch of spawn points that are going to be set to the Yankee side. So we'll have ones on this side that are Cobra, ones on the other side that are Eagle, and we'll activate those and deactivate the Zulu and vice versa. So I just need to make sure I'm setting this correctly. We've got Yankee Cobra, which means we need Yankee Eagle over here. I think we've got Zulu Cobra. Okay. So again, this is a bit tedious because ultimately, depending on how much you have set up, you're basically setting spawn points twice on your map, right? Which is never great, but hey, if it's what you got to do to get the map just right, then so be it. So this one needs to be Eagle and Yankee. All right, so we've got Zulu Cobra, Yankee Eagle. Yankee Cobra, Zulu Eagle. Cool. All right, so now we can grab all those in a single list in our node graph. So let's do that. All right. So for objects, we want the get objects by label. And we'll actually need two of these, right? So label is Zulu on this one and Yankee on this one. So this is where we probably want to do the setup on round end, because when round starts, like it, it's probably better to have everything set up and ready to go before the round starts. So I'm going to just do an on round end. That said, we may have to do some prep for on game start then as well. So let's just say we're going to want to loop through this for each object. This is going to be our list. We'll just pick one of these that we're going to deactivate. So we'll just, oh, I deselected right when I shouldn't have. All right, so what we're saying is when the game starts, we're going to get everything under the Zulu. And then since these are player spawns, I think there's a way to deactivate this spawns. I'm trying to remember the node for that. There's too many nodes to keep track of. So we should be able to do this with a delete object. I, for the life of me, can't remember if, I think there was a thing that was basically to activate and deactivate a spawn point, but I might be remembering it wrong, so that's fine. So what we're gonna do is we'll just delete all of the Zulu list, right? Which means for odd rounds, which would be round one, we would have the Yankee list set up. So we can do on completion. Oh wait, no, we were going to do that setup on the on round end. So again, this is kind of we're going the lazy route here, but we essentially need to copy this because this node or this event doesn't know which round we're on. Why am I doing it up here where there's no room? Pardon my mess here, but okay. So on round end, as far as I understand, should output the number of the round you were on because the new round hasn't started yet. So what we're going to say is if it's false, which means it's an odd round, we want to actually do this exact same thing here. Delete all the delete all the Zulu. Let's see if it'll let us plug in here. No, it doesn't want to because they're in two different events. So we'll just make a duplicate. So we're going to delete all Zulu, and then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to spawn all of the Yankee. There we go. So we just need to do the spawn node, which should be under objects. I don't know why I'm using my controller because the mouse is easier on the node graph. Okay. So now we need to do the opposite of this. If it's a even, so basically we can just clear that connection, clear that connection, swap these. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. All right, so let's just run through this real quick, then we'll run it, and then hopefully we will be done with this long video. Okay, so when the game starts, we're gonna do automatic setup and delete the Zulu nodes. So Yankee nodes should be set up. We're gonna give our team players or our different teams the things we need. Then for an odd round, it's gonna come through. It's gonna delete Zulu again, but keep in mind we needed to do it on game start because we want to make sure it happens before the round starts. This is setting everything up at the round end, so it'll duplicate for the first round, but otherwise it'll be setting it up for every odd or even round. So That's why we went that route. But it'll delete all the Zulu. It'll set up all the Yankee. It'll run at the end of the round. Um, we'll set it up for the next one. Now, let me think about this for a quick second, because I might have gotten my logic off. If we're starting out with Zulu on round one, at the end of the round, it's setting up, or sorry, we're deleting Zulu, running Yankee. So this is actually backwards from what we want, because this is going to mean that at the end of round one, we're setting it up for round one again. So I'm actually going to just change this to Yankee. Oh, which means at the end of round one, we'll set it up for Zulu for the next, or we'll set it up for Yankee for the next round. Okay. I think we're set. Hopefully that all made sense. Let's give it a shot. So I started on side 2. He started on side 1. So now I should start on side 1. Okay, that didn't work. Let's see if it works this time. I might have gotten it wrong with that last thing, but well, something's off, so let's figure it out. I wonder if it's going off of initial spawns and I'm just remembering that wrong. If that's the case, then our respawns are doing nothing. Well, I guess technically we would want the respawns there anyway, but that seems like it's what's happening. Here's how we can check without going through all the effort to change it. And I think I'm going to just move these all the way back to the edge. So when I spawn, if I spawn back by the edge every time for 2 rounds, yep, so I spawned back on the edge. I think that's what it is. I forgot that we have to do it for the initial spawns as well. Yep. All right. So tedious, but worth it. So the cool thing is we can just match these up with what's already in those other lists, right? The lists can hold up to 120. So if you have basically less than 60 per side, you should be able to just do it with a single list. So this one was Yankee was for Cobra. This should be for Team Eagle, which means it needs to be Zulu. There we go. And then let's set up a Cobra version. Oh, I forgot I could change all their teams all at once. Been doing it the long way. Set these to Yankee. All right, so Cobra Yankee over here, which means we need Cobra Zulu on the other side. And then we'll create our set for Team Eagle, and these should be Yankee. Takes a lot of time to do some of this stuff, but once you know how to do it, you won't have to watch my video. You'll just do it. Everyone will be happy. All right, let's run this. So I'm on side 1. That's already progress. However, homeboy spawned on side 1 as well. I'm on side 2 this time. It's curious. Zulu's Eagle. We're deleting Yankee right off the bat. That's on game start, which means only Zulu should be available. And we've got Zulu Eagle. Yeah, Zulu Eagle. Let me just double check that we have it right over here. So we should have Zulu Cobra. So that's all right. So let's check our script. Not sure what's happening. So we said on round 1, delete the Yankee. So we should start with just Zulu objects on round 1. At the end of the round, it's round 1. It would be a false. We're deleting Zulu, spawning Yankee. And then at the end of round 2, we should be deleting Yankee, spawning Zulu. It's kind of weird that it didn't work last time, but now it's working this time. So I'm on 2. If I end round, I should start on 1. Well, we've got some sort of issue going on. Apparently this isn't the most elegant way of doing it. What we potentially would need to do is add the like block the respawns till all this is done. I just don't know if that would be 100% effective. Trying to remember what could have sworn there was a way to deactivate. Here we go. This is what I was looking for earlier that I couldn't find. I think this is what we need to be doing. So we're basically just using this set spawn point enabled, but we're setting it false for one side and true for the other. So thanks for bearing with me while I lead you astray and then correct myself. All right, so instead of deleting, we're going to set spawn point to false. So let's just bring this down here. And then instead of spawning, we'll set it to true. And the same thing down here. Don't quite have enough room there. So the delete method doesn't work the way we thought it would. Lesson learned. I'm pretty sure I've learned that lesson in the past and I just forgot. And then up here, we're going to actually want to set these Yankees to false. So go ahead and copy. All right. This should work, and if it doesn't, I think there's an issue with timing. See, I spawned in on side 2. Okay, I'm on side 1, he's on side 2. I think I was supposed to spawn on side 2 last time, but I somehow spawned in on side 1, which makes me wonder if I would need to do like a block spawn points just to make sure the timing's just right, but I mean it's working now, so I think you guys get the point, and this video's gone way too long, so feel free if you have questions or anything, throw them up in the comments. I'm gonna hopefully do some more videos like this on AI here pretty soon. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys can make something great, and I hope these videos help. All right, take care.